White House Chief of Staff Ronald Klain says inflation is a high-class problem. MSNBC's Joy Reid tells Republicans, hey, Superman's bisexual. It's time to get over it. And also, big tech, well, they're coming after conservative voices, but the Democrats aren't satisfied with just YouTube and Facebook. Oh, no, they're coming after your messaging, too. All that and more. I'm Joe Cozo, filling in for Bobby Eberle. This is the 13-Minute News Hour.
And God bless the United States of America.
Welcome to the show, everyone. Happy Friday. We have a lot to talk about, so let's get right into it. Inflation. Inflation is everywhere. It's at the gas pump. It's at the supermarket. You want chopped meat? You're paying double. You want chicken? Double. Whatever it may be, everything is rising. Now, here's the thing. If you are in the White House, if you are part of the Biden administration, you think everything is okay. And you also think if there is a problem, it's a high-class problem. What do I mean by that? Well, here is Ronald Klain. He is the White House Chief of Staff. He retweets something, okay? Now, a retweet, in my opinion, is an agreement. I agree with what you're saying. So what is that tweet that he does here? Let's take a look at it. He retweets Jason Furman, who is the former chairman of the Economic Advisors. Okay, so this is what he retweets. Most of the economic problems we are facing, inflation, supply chains, etc., are high-class problems. Oh, come on. We wouldn't have had them if the unemployment rate was still 10%. We would instead have had a much worse problem. Now, listen, that could be anything but the truth. It's not a high-class problem. High-class people are rich people. High-class people don't care that now all of a sudden gas has gone up from, say, $3 a gallon and into some places $5 a gallon. Why? Because they go to the pump with a $100 bill. The attendant comes, they give the $100 and they say, fill it up, whatever it is. And if you need more, let me know. And if there's anything extra, keep it. But someone like maybe you, someone definitely like me, who's middle class, who goes to the pump and sees that all of a sudden it's $5. Well, I don't have $100 in my pocket to just spend on gas weekly. So now what I do is I may say to the gas attendant, $10, 87. Don't put the high octane. I told you not to put the high octane in. I only got $10 here. I got to get to work and then back. And then what are you going to do? You're going to be back at the gas pump in a couple of days anyway, spending more and more money. See, the thing about the Biden administration is they're tone deaf to the middle class. They actually hate the middle class. They want to get rid of the middle class. They don't care anything about the middle class. And here, Jen Psaki, she gets asked yesterday about Ronald Klain's tweet. Listen to what she says.
What Ron Klain retweeted was a tweet from the former chairman of Economic Advisors, Jason Furman, where he said, for full context, which I think is important, most of the economic problems we're facing, inflation, supply chains, are high-class problems. When he went on to say is, we wouldn't have had them if unemployment rate was still 10%. We would instead have had a much worse problem. So I think the point here is, well, there are some critics who are saying, what some of these critics are saying is, we don't know if they're saying that what they thought was great was when the unemployment rate was double what it is today.
She doesn't even answer the question of being a high-class problem. And again, that just goes to show you how the Biden administration, okay, Ronald Klain, you have Jen Psaki, they don't have the temperature of the economic issues that we as Americans, as middle-class Americans, are facing today. And it's not just them, too. It's also Transportation Secretary Pete Buttigieg. Watch what he says. He's on CNN the other day. And he's asked about the supply chain and if kids are going to be able to open up gifts during Christmas. Watch his response.
So holiday expectations management, as we're looking at these supply chain issues, how bad are they going to get for Americans? And I'm talking specifically, leading here into the December holidays where people are relying on getting goods, on getting presents.
Well, I think there's always been two kinds of Christmas shoppers. There's the ones who have all their list completed by Halloween, and then there's people like me who show up at the mall on Christmas Eve. If you're in that latter bucket, obviously there's going to be more challenges.
Again, doesn't even answer the question. Basically is saying, hey, you know what? Well, you better start shopping now if there's anything on the shelf. And there's nothing on the shelves. It's all gone. And here's the thing about the supply chain, and this is why I love Donald Trump so much, and this is why he won in 2016. How he didn't win? Well, that's another story for another day. But he wanted these companies get out of China, get out of Mexico, come back to America so we can start making our own products, our own medicine, our own whatever it may be. So we don't have to worry and rely on other countries having a supply chain. There's no supply chain if we're making everything here. But see, the Biden administration wants to do the complete opposite. They keep telling Americans that they want to pass this $3.5 trillion infrastructure bill. But here's the thing about that. You're still going to have inflation, and it's going to get even higher. The price of goods are going to go even up. Why? Because he intends on taxing these big corporations. These big corporations are going to sit there and say, well, we have to get back our profits. How do we get back our profits? We raise the prices. Inflation is here to stay. It's not transitory, and it's all Joe Biden's fault. All right, moving on here. I want to introduce to you Joy Reid, who is, I think, one of the worst cable newscasters on TV. How she still has a job, I have no idea. Now, recently just came out, DC Comics has made Superman's son, John Clark. He is now bisexual. Why do they have to do it? I don't know. I don't know why this woke America just will keep continuing, but that's where we are. So here is Joy Reid saying, hey, Republicans, get over it. But there's a catch with Joy Reid. First, let's listen to what she says about the new bisexual Superman.
While the right has long given up on the idea of being conservative when it comes to fiscal matters or conserving democracy, the one thing they're absolutely obsessed with conserving is anything that historically has been culturally male, Christian, hetero, and white. I've said it before and I'll say it again. It's the culture that they're most angry about losing. That's why whenever anything threatens those old norms, they tend to freak out, even when the thing they're freaking out about isn't even real. The latest affront to the right is not a bird, not a plane, but rather is Superman, a bisexual Superman. Not Clark Kent, but rather John Kent, with people on the right claiming a bisexual Superman will destroy America.
See, here's the thing about Joy Reid, which is just so bizarre to me. First, she's a liar. Two, she is also a homophobe, and she's already been caught out there. And the last thing before we then expose that part of it is this. There is a superhero that is black, right? It's called Black Panther. How would Joy Reid all of a sudden, if they decided that Black Panther is going to be a white character? She would be up in arms. She is just full of hypocrisy. And now, let's expose her for her homophobic ways and how much of a hypocrite she is with that. Because not too long ago, Joy Reid had a blog which she was basically saying how she hated gays. You don't remember? Well, let's take a trip down memory lane. Here, watch.
Joy Reid, the MSNBC host, apologized back in December after the discovery of some homophobic web posts that she had written a decade ago. But when Mediaite recently unearthed more posts from that era mocking gay people and homosexuality, really ugly stuff.
You see the Joyanne Reid story? Do you see that from MSNBC? That was a crazy one as well. She had statements from old blog posts where she wrote stuff that was really disparaging to gay people, and she actually apologized about it. I think it was like 6 months ago. She came out and said, hey, I'm really sorry. I believe these things and I've changed, and I'm sorry for having these views. And people seemed like they were over it, and then it came back again. And I thought she was just going to say, yeah, as I said, I'm sorry. But then this time she was like, no, I got hacked.
Well, it's not just that she got hacked. She then afterwards hires MSNBC or tells MSNBC to look into it. I know that I didn't make those claims. And then what happens when MSNBC comes up empty? Well, here, this is what she has to say.
When a friend found them in December and sent them to me, I was stunned. Frankly, I couldn't imagine where they'd come from or whose voice that was. In the months since, I've spent a lot of time trying to make sense of these posts. I hired cybersecurity experts to see if somebody had manipulated my words or my former blog. And the reality is they have not been able to prove it.
Just imagine You having to come on TV and lie in that fashion, right to the American public. But the best part about the whole thing is, everyone knows she's lying. Everyone knows she wasn't hacked. Yet MSNBC still leaves her on board. They don't fire her. She doesn't get canceled. What kind of privilege is that? All we hear about is white privilege. That is some type of privilege that I would love to have. Because we know for a fact, not only is she a racist, but she's also a homophobe. But yet, she continues to keep her job. It's amazing. All right, moving on here. HBO John Oliver, okay? Listen to what he said the other night about censorship. Now, he gets into it, and he starts bashing Facebook and YouTube, but he doesn't stop there. That's not enough. It's not enough that YouTube and Facebook are censoring conservatives. No. We have to dig deeper. Here, watch.
And as bad as Facebook and YouTube are, and they are screamingly bad, at least in theory, they can be monitored. But there is another way misinformation spreads that's actually invisible to most people, and unfortunately, also happens to be one of the most popular tools of communication among immigrant communities, and that is private messaging apps.
So again, it's not just social media now that's the issue. The Democrats, the left, people like John Oliver, they're basically saying this. No. We have to get into your private conversations because it's your private conversations where all of the disinformation is. See, what you think, we don't like anymore. And we have to make sure we even know what you're thinking behind closed doors. We have to censor that as well. It just never ends. It's 1984, George Orwell, right now in 2021. You can't believe it. I can't believe it. All right, moving on here. The last thing that I want to talk about here is winning streaks, right? If you're on a losing streak, the one thing that you need is a victory. Why? Because you build momentum and it gets then into a winning streak. What do Republicans don't have? Right now, we don't have a winning streak. We are on a losing streak and we need that one win. Right? We lost the House. We lost the White House. We lost the Senate. We don't have control over anything. So we are desperate for a win. Where can we find that? In Virginia. The Virginia governor race right now, in my opinion, is so crucial because it'll be the stepping stone to what could happen in 2022. Now, I don't know about you, but if you see someone here like Democrat Terry McAuliffe say something like this, like, hey, parents should not have a say in what is being taught in schools, right there should set off an alarm. Here is that clip.
And I'm not going to let parents come into schools and actually take books out and make their own decision.
You vetoed it.
So, yeah, I stopped the bill that I don't think parents should be telling schools what they should teach.
Now, parents in Virginia, they're concerned about CRT, critical race theory. That's what's being taught. We know that. We've seen it. We've seen the parents. We've also seen Merrick Garland come out now, the head of the DOJ, basically saying, hey, listen, we are now labeling parents as domestic terrorists who go against the school boards. But here is Terry McAuliffe, and this is why you can't vote for him. This is why this is such a crucial race. And the reason being is this. He can't even define what CRT is. Here, watch.
In school.
So how do you define it?
Anita, it is not taught here in Virginia.
But how do you define it?
Doesn't matter. It's not taught here in Virginia, so I'm not going to spend my time
on what it is.
I'm not even spending my time because the school board and everyone else has come out and said it's not taught.
You know, it's all lies, and it just never ends. But again, this Virginia race, this will be the stepping stone for 2022. All right, we have run out of time here. Thank you for joining the 13-minute news hour. I appreciate everything. And if you are new to the show, don't forget to subscribe. With that being said, I'm Joe Kozo in for Bobby Eberle, and this is the 13-minute news hour.
All right, friends, thanks again for tuning in. I really appreciate it. And before you go, please hit that subscribe button above. Once you do, tell your friends, share it, spread the word about the 13-minute news hour so we can keep growing. And for more great content, check out these videos right here, and I'll see you next time.